there's my thumbnail post. Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. So I feel attacked. I feel very attacked, YouTube. In case people haven't heard, the news that we have been long waiting for has finally arrived. YouTube have officially lowered the requirements for monetization, kind of. Sorry, I'm just trying to cross the road here. Okay, here we go. I'm also trying to avoid the vegetation because I had a huge allergy attack on Saturday and I do not wish to repeat that. I'm avoiding the vegetation. But yeah, so back to what I was saying. So now it seems that you are required to get 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours for long form content. There's also like 3 million YouTube Shorts views if you want to go down that route. Whatever. Point is, I feel attacked because I just spent the past, like, what was it, like 10 months or so? Almost 11, yeah. 10 months, nearly 11 months. From July to May, attempting to get 4,000 watch hours to match the 1,000 subscribers I already had. And just achieved that. And then 2 weeks later, they announced this. In fact, it happened yesterday, just out of the blue. And I was like, wow, sure would be great if all these talks about them lowering the requirements turned out to be true. And yes, that would have been great. Again, not 11ish months ago, because 11 months ago I had 2.3 thousand watch hours, and that was my starting point for realizing, okay, I need to hone in on this for now. And then the rest is history. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I got to like, oh my word, I just realized, yeah. I'm fairly certain that I got to 3,000 watch hours sometime in December or January. Wouldn't that have been great? Well, turns out possibly no, because as I said, it's a kind of situation. Pardon me, I think that I started to act up again. I went into the town. There's only so much vegetation I can avoid around here while also trying to find the shade. There it goes. Okay. Okay, right. This is going to be a short video today. Okay. Oh no. Right. What was I saying? I was saying that... Okay, this is not good. Let me just prop this down for a second. It's the reason I've got a tripod. This, by the way, is why I edit my other videos that are pre-recorded. Right. So, back to what I was saying. Yeah, it seems that YouTube has lowered the bar for stuff like super chat, super thanks, super stickers, all the super stuff. But in order to actually turn on ads and get ad revenue, you have to still reach the same threshold. The usual 4,000 watch hours, 10 million shorts views, whatever it may be. So, oh well. What a shame, right? Well, I mean, it still means that you can monetize the audience you have rather than the community itself. I mean, sorry, the actual content, I mean. Which is great if you have, you know, like the Butter Bunch in its heyday, actually. back when I was doing a lot of Dragon Ball What Ifs on there and such, I'm sure that we were at least in the 1,000 range of watch hours just from the few videos that we actually had, because those ones definitely had great retention. Rest assured, I shall be testing this method tout sweet, as they say. But for now, okay, hold on, please start there. Light's green, and we go. God, okay. So yeah, all jokes aside, I actually don't mind that they've done it this way. Like, I know it was like, oh yeah, sure, wouldn't that have been great a while ago? But I'm wondering to myself, would I have had the same incentive to keep going and get to the state of ad revenue if I'd just been like, oh, I guess I could do memberships and stuff? The answer is probably just basically how the revenue was generated, but actually most of what I've gotten so far has been from has been from super chats in general, and from one person with memberships. Shout out to Ghosty and Emily for particularly contributing to those. So yeah, needless to say, that was it seems to not make too much of it, but I sure would have been like, oh okay, there's more untapped potential here, and I would have possibly carried on. So maybe I'm neutral. It seems weird though. If I were YouTube, I would have done this the other way round. I would have had people allowed to turn ads on first and earn something, a minuscule amount probably, given the threshold of most channels with family subscribers and such, but still something. And then, because depending on if they have the communities or not, the Butter Bunch, we probably did up until about last year, when when three of us started neglecting the channel, and then the one person who has not dealt with YouTube metadata decides to has stepped up much more so than even before. She was already doing a lot. So yeah, I do appreciate BB trying to keep the channel in check. Just unfortunate that because of the Dragon Ball franchise fan base that we had cultivated, that it wasn't as viable. So again, I plan to return and see just how certain things go, you know? But yeah, to any YouTubers out there who have got 500 subscribers, I would say check your watch hours, because you never know. I do know for a fact that Aiden already checked his, because when I posted the initial video, I hadn't checked the actual requirements yet, because I just saw a vidIQ video on the subject, and it showed yes, it said the moment waited for YouTubers lowering the monetization requirements. Of course, it goes into details about the stipulations in the video, but at the time I was streaming, so I didn't have a chance to really see it. I was like, oh god, you're joking. And then he just posts, oh, this is great for me, sucks for you. Which, yes, that's where the I feel attacked thing came from. But yeah, then he told me that he's at like 138 watch hours, which makes sense because he posts rather infrequently. I mean, in comparison to me, a lot of people post infrequently, but basically, yeah. So he had that concern. Although, I will say, because he didn't commit the cardinal sin I did of setting myself up over the years to have a jumbled mess of a channel, that I am too stubborn and compelled by my need to complete things to just shelve a bunch of things. Although now that I think about it, again, the hard drive issue that I've had could be a blessing in disguise, because it does mean that I have to, that unless I get the data back, I would have to just terminate a few of the older projects that were not doing so well. Or ones that were, like my first Pixelmon, which now that I think about it, I have one last idea I can do for that, and then those videos may not see the light of day. But you know what, I'll go into more detail about that later. For now, continuing to discuss YouTube and the changes. I haven't checked the Butter Bunch watch hours yet, but I know that I think we were like at 98 or something. It was dire, because none of us have been going on there, because most of us have been focusing on our own channels, including BB, who has, of course, started off with Rip in the Dark, and has been dedicating herself to that, rather than some of the gaming videos that she was doing on the Butter Bunch. But yeah, and even Aiden, he's been focusing on like his other work, but also in between the Odd Fallen Angels episode and some Drama Club recordings, he's been very focused on helping me a lot more with the Mutant Girl, which is another thing that's, of course, that doesn't really help him. I suppose now, because the announcement just came out yesterday, part of me really wants to actually shift my focus over to partially aiding him. Of course, still testing out some things within a few niches to increase the community on my end. I have plans for that, and in fact they actually do much more match the content that I think you lot and the large community will be looking for. But yeah, haven't got there yet, and in fact I need to complete that before we go on holiday on Saturday. So yeah, that's I don't want to be spending too much time doing YouTube when, you know, I finally get to see my brother again for the first time in a while, because obviously he's been with friends and enjoying life away from university, which of course I relate to entirely. But yeah, like particularly him, but also just in general, once again, being back in Spain and being able to relax. I mean, it does seem to some people that what I do is not the most taxing thing, although I can assure you, in some aspects it most certainly is. Even as far as editing videos goes, it's not always sunshine and rainbows, even if it is for professional companies that surprisingly have very few requirements and stipulations for their work most of the time. Some of them do, like I got like company guidelines from the one that Theoden was doing, but yeah, for the most part they're like, okay, do it this way, and then of course being me, I'm like, okay, so I there's a few things here that you're not addressing, let's go ahead and solve them. In fact, I actually at one point found that one of the videos that was done had very terrible audio, and so I fixed it. Turns out I put the audio video out of sync. That is currently rendering as we speak. So again, multitasking. But yeah, I just set that up before I came out here. So yeah, not the most physically taxing, but definitely mentally taxing, and physically to some extent. A very short extent, but an extent nonetheless. To what extent is blah 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 blah? I just remember that from the P for C days back in secondary school. Good lord, was that a time. Oh well. Point being, yeah, very much looking forward to a holiday again, especially now that the Great Watch Hour race has concluded. In fact, it started in July last year when we were in holiday. I happened to once again check the vidIQ plugin. There's vidIQ again, of course, and it turns out that I was significantly far away. So I was like, oh well, because I got to 1,000 subscribers during the time I was doing Siren Story, which of course was taking up most of my focus rather than YouTube itself. Was like, okay, now that I'm on holiday, let's see what we got here. Let's see what we're working with. Oh god, I'm like halfway there. Right, well, time to shift gears. And now it's time to shift again, but part of me, I do want to see, like, I'm sure there's some other people who now are much closer to at least being able to access, like, the super chats and memberships and stuff. And thinking of ways to go about with them. I mean, Aiden had a birthday recently, for crying out loud. So, and we had a plan for a video on his channel, which may or may not be completed today. I think that's probably best because, I mean, I've got a video for Wednesday. I always do. So, I suppose we shall find out. But yeah, overall, I actually am happy that YouTube did this. And possibly content with the timing. I guess I'm always going to be of two minds about that. Not that anything could be done because, yeah. I suppose that mentality and focus that I had, it was taking a toll on me. But despite anything, you know, it's over now. I wouldn't recommend it to a soul, but it's how it worked for me. So yeah, don't do what I did. I'm sure there's another way that I can help Aiden or anyone else with watch hour stuff. You know, it's gotta be easier now, right? It's gotta be the point of lowering it to that extent. It's gotta be slightly easier. At least. It's 50% of the subscriber count required and 25% less of the watch hours. That's got to amount to something. Okay, so now hard drive discussion. So I did actually receive the hard drive back. The problem was that there was no way that the guy in question was able to recover the data. He tried what he could, but unfortunately was not meant to happen. He did recommend a different company that said and said that they don't do anything like below £650 or something. I was like, well, I mean, that's a bit out of budget for me right now. I didn't say that, but that was what I was thinking. So yeah, I think I'm probably gonna hold off. I have the drive back. I recovered it, so I was like, okay, sure, here we go. He did confirm that it was an issue of the disk not being identifiable, which means that the data is indeed still on there. So I suppose whenever I want to recover that back, that much is true, unless the disk breaks, but yeah, nothing was broken apart from the top, which has been sealed and fixed now, obviously. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on that. I think maybe, at the very least, put the series that were on there back on hiatus. It's a shame that there are some gacha reviews on there that were like during the pre-recorded era, but I guess I can just redo those. I mean, why not? Just because I've achieved the watch hours, I mean, I'm going to stop the streams now, even if I am making them, try my best to make them shorter by comparison to what they used to be. Because also that means that people can watch them much more easily after that. The thing I noticed last year that I wasn't able to really capitalize on, because soon after I discovered how 5 years later was better when it was shorter and performed significantly better, lo and behold, I get the copyright thing, also while still on holiday, mind you. I have to rethink that whole thing over again and hone on gacha review, which, again, as far as the community goes, has boosted activity significantly. However, now, of course, again, I do want to scale that back, but not to an extent where it's like, oh, I'm changing up my content, and then, because every time a YouTuber does that, the channel just tanks immediately. So I'm not going to make that mistake. I'm done making basic mistakes that I could very easily avoid on YouTube. I put in years of that for varying reasons. We're done. But yeah, the streams are definitely going to be shorter because, good lord, and also some days I'll be like, okay, let's work on some edited videos. Let's get that mutant girl scene out. Let's put Aiden's effort to good use so we can go back to focusing on him. Because yeah, it's his turn now for a great watch hour war. If he desires, I mean, no pressure, I'm just saying that it can be done now. And it's got less of a worry. But yeah, it remains to be seen. I'm sure there's some other people whose channels I'm missing out, thinking about 500 subscribers and such, but Aiden being the obvious example. So yeah, going forward, I'd say Shorty as well, but Shorty's already surpassed 1k again. And also I had a plan for Shorty's videos. Anyway, a lot to think about, despite going on holiday. So of course, oh well, we shall have to see. Next time I do one of these, I shall be by the sea. So please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. Subscribe if not already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.